So somebody just told me that, unlike me, that I've not done anything on this Ozoro festival. I've not seen anything on it. And what happened? Like 2-3 people called me. I was like, are you still active? That they've not heard anything about this Ozoro festival from me. Because ordinarily these are the kinds of things that I like to comment about. But Ozoro festival, you see Ozoro, that grape festival, you know what I'm talking about. So this is one thing I like about law. Law is something that as you are studying it, you're already applying the law to things that you are seeing. A year one student now that have learned customary law would ordinarily appreciate the facts and apply the law to it. Now, to a year one student that have done customary law, you would agree with me that there are certain tests that a particular custom must pass in order for it to gain the force of law. There are some tests that the custom of the people must pass in order for it to actually be customary law. Tests. And these tests are called what? Validity tests. Now, I will explain the meaning of validity tests, and I will put this Ozoro festival on this test, and you will be the one to judge. Now, you see that I am not saying, it is bad, it is not bad. Of course, if you want to come by the sentimental side, if you want to come by the common sense side, the layman's perspective, yes, from conscience, from sentiment, it is bad. You shouldn't have a custom that allows harassing women. But apart from that, let us now see what the law says. Let us now apply the law to it and see if the law agrees with it. Because there are many things that we might not agree with ordinarily, that the courts agree with, that the law will agree with. And there are still things that we agree with that the law will not agree with. So what are these validity tests? The validity tests are the repugnancy test, the incompatibility test, and the public policy test. So, after explaining these things, we will now look at the Ozoro festival and see if it passes these tests. Number one is the repugnancy test. The repugnancy test is saying that any custom that you bring and it is barbaric, it is disgusting to ordinary people. Like, it is something that when you look at it, you do like this. Repugnant. It is disgusting. It is barbaric. For example, there are some customs. Of course, I think it has been stopped in some places. That when a man dies, that they beat the man with a particular water and they force the woman to drink that water in order to prove that she did not kill her husband. That if she drinks that water and she dies too, it means that her hand went into the killing of the husband. So that is what we call trial by ordeal, which is actually a criminal offense now. So it has been criminalized. Now, that's the repugnancy test. Disgusting, barbaric, something that you will look at and you will do like this. Repugnancy. We have the public policy test, just like the repugnancy. Public policy test is this thing publicly accepted by those people? Is it public? Is it something that everybody accepts? Does it enjoy public acceptance? So in fact, I even see it as pari passu with repugnancy. Because if it is repugnant, and people don't like it, people see it as barbaric, then I don't think it would gain public acceptance. So that is public policy test. What is the public's view on it? What are people saying about this? That's for public policy. Now we now have the incompatibility test. Now the incompatibility test is that, is this custom clashing with any other law that is enforced in Nigeria? If the custom is clashing with any other law, that means the custom is incompatible with a written law in force. And so that custom must bow to the law. The law is higher than the custom. That's what he's saying. Because if the law is not higher than the custom, and the custom is higher than the law is supposed to give way for the custom to thrive. But he's saying here that if it is incompatible with a written law in force in Nigeria, then that particular written law will prevail and the custom must be declared invalid. So these are the three tests. Very simple. Repugnancy test, public policy test, incompatibility test. Now let us now put Ozoro festival. This is RAPE. Everybody knows that this is very bad. It has been criminalized and all that. Now, for the repugnancy test, do you think it is disgusting? Do you think it is something that people will see and they will say it is barbaric? Of course, when you look at everybody that have been creating content on this, there has been no content that I've seen that supported the Ozoro festival. None. And all of them are decrying the barbaricness and the disgusting feature of that particular custom. So ordinarily, it has failed this first test. And if a custom fails any one, that custom is declared invalid. The same custom must not fail all of them. As long as it has failed one. Ogola. Now, apart from the repugnancy test, let us even say it passed the repugnancy test, for example. Let's just assume. We go to incompatibility test. Now, do you think it is breaking any law? Before I will even go into the law, ROAPE is an offense. And why is it an offense? How is it an offense? Many people don't know the meaning of how an offense comes to be an offense. If you look at your section 36, subsection 12 of the Constitution, Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999 as amended, you would see what makes an offense an offense. And when you look at that section 36, subsection 12, you will now understand and agree with me that any act that has been criminalized, and how are acts criminalized? An act is criminalized when it is prohibited by a written law. Number one, prohibited by a written law, and the punishment is prescribed. That is why adultery is not an offense in the southern part of Nigeria. Even though people would want it to be an offense. How can I finish marrying a wife and she will go and be doing one or two outside? That is why not greeting your elder is not an offense that is punishable. I know most of you that like ego and respect too much, likes for people to greet you and you think it's an offense if they don't. It's not an offense. Why? Because it is not written down and the punishment thereof is not prescribed. So we now go to section 357 of the Criminal Code Act. Then you look for the relevant section in the Penal Code Act. You will now see that the Criminal Code Act and the Criminal Code laws of each state has criminalized rape. And so if a festival is allowing for something that the law has prohibited, that means it is clashing with the law. The law says, don't do this. Your festival is saying, do this. It is clashing with the law, and as such, it is incompatible with the law, and as such, it has failed that validity test. So Ozoro Grape Festival failed the repugnancy test. We have now seen that it has failed the incompatibility test. Now let's go to public policy test. Is it widely accepted? Of course, you know the answer is no. You don't need, even if you have eye problem, you don't need glasses to see this. Because the only people that accept this and sees it as okay are the people that want to actually harass women. But reasonable people, sees this as very bad and unacceptable. And so, when you look at it well, from the lens of a lawyer and from the lens of law, you would see that this Ozoro Rape Festival has failed the 3 tests. And I told you that if it fails one, or if it had failed one, it should be declared invalid. But now it has failed the 3, which means the invalidity, after declaring it invalid, they should wrap it and go inside one evil forest and throw it away and burn it inside there. But it still remains a custom until the courts declare it invalid. After looking at this analysis we've done and measure it by this validity test, which of course I know if it gets to court, they will declare it invalid. And so I hope you have learned 1 or 2 things today. I'll see you on the next one.